Commander Jack Riker stood tall and serious as his shuttle landed on the alien world of Velmara. He had been sent by Earth as a diplomatic representative to meet with the Velmaran Council. It was a peaceful mission, straightforward, or so he thought. The shuttle door opened. Warm sunlight touched his face, and the scent of strange flowers filled the air. The Velmaran planet was full of tall silver trees and floating crystal islands. Beautiful, calm, and unlike anything on Earth. Jack stepped down and adjusted his uniform. He looked around. Velmaran greeters stood waiting. Among them, a small alien woman pushed her way to the front. She had a cheerful face, soft teal skin, large violet eyes, and tiny antenna-like braids that bounced as she walked. Her outfit was neat, decorated with symbols Jack didn't understand. She stood only chest-high to Jack, but her smile was as bright as a star. "You must be Commander Jack Riker," she said, her voice musical. Jack blinked. "Yes, and you are." The small alien clapped her hands. "I'm Lilu, your match. I've been matched with a wife, and that's me." Jack froze. "What?" Lilu tilted her head, confused. "Didn't they tell you? You were selected through the Great Harmony Match program. Perfect bond based on advanced compatibility scans." Jack raised his hand. Wait. There must be a mistake. I'm not here to get married. I'm here for a diplomatic meeting." Lilu giggled. "I know. That's why they matched you with me. I'm one of Elmera's best xenolinguists. It's tradition to pair visiting. Delegates with a life partner for better harmony." Jack looked around. None of the Velmaran officials seemed surprised. One of them stepped forward, a tall being with glowing lines on his robe. "Commander Riker," the official said, "we deeply honor your presence. This match has brought joy to our people. It was calculated through our ancient systems. To deny it would be disrespectful." Jack stared at Lilu. She was still smiling, clearly happy. He cleared his throat. "With all respect, sign up for a space marriage." The official nodded slowly. Perhaps it was an error in the Earth-Velmara data exchange, but now that the match has been announced publicly, stepping away could create dishonor for both sides. Jack sighed. His mission was important. Earth needed this alliance. He couldn't afford to offend their culture on day one. He looked at Lilu again. She stood patiently, holding out a small welcome box wrapped in glowing ribbons. "Temporary?" Jack asked quietly. "Of course," Lilu said with a grin. "We can start with introductions, no pressure. But I am moving into your guest quarters." Jack nearly dropped his tablet. The guest quarters were large and full of soft light. Jack sat at the table, sipping something that tasted like mint and honey. Lilu walked around the room, putting little decorations on the shelves, tiny stars, floating petals, and small wooden carvings. "You don't have to decorate," Jack said. "It's part of the bonding ritual," Lilu said. "I promise not." "To touch your side of the bed, there's only one bed?" Lilu nodded cheerfully. "It's large. Don't worry. I sleep curled up like a shrimp. Very small footprint." Jack sighed again and leaned back. His mission had already gone sideways. He opened his datapad and typed a message to Earth Command. "Urgent. Accidental marriage? Require guidance. Situation peaceful." Lilu peeked over his shoulder. "You don't have to be afraid of me, Jack," she said softly. "This may be strange to you, but I asked for this match. I wanted to meet a human. I think your people are fascinating." Looked at her surprised. "You chose this?" "Yes," she said. "When your name came up, I read everything about you. Brave, calm, loyal. You're everything our system said would balance me." Jack rubbed the back of his neck. No one had ever said something like that to him before. "Well," he muttered, "that's a lot of pressure." Lilu smiled. "Just give me a chance. If it doesn't work, I'll file a peaceful separation request. But until then, I'd like to show you Velmara deal." Jack stared into her big violet eyes. Something about her made it hard to say no. She wasn't pushy, just hopeful. "Deal," he said at last. The next day, Lilu led Jack through the city. Towering crystal towers shimmered in the sunlight. Alien birds sang soft tunes. Every citizen smiled at them, many offering gifts or greetings. "You're already famous," Lilu said, giggling. "I didn't do anything," Jack replied. "You became my husband. That's everything." Jack groaned, but a smile crept onto his face. She took him to a floating garden, where plants danced gently in the air. They had lunch in a bubble dome under a waterfall. Lilu explained Velmarin customs and taught him how to greet people using color-changing bracelets. Jack had to admit it was kind of Lilu, as she explained something about songflowers. She was smart, kind, funny, and maybe, just maybe, this whole match wasn't the worst thing in the galaxy, but deep down, he knew peace wouldn't last forever. Jack Riker woke up with the sound of soft humming. It wasn't a machine. It was Lilowell Ratty, awake, floating gently in midair in a meditation pose. Her braids swayed like ribbons. She had placed a small sun crystal in the middle of the room to start their day with harmony. Jack sat up slowly, rubbing his eyes. "This is way too peaceful for a military man," he muttered. Lilu opened her eyes. "Good morning, husband." He frowned. "Do you have to keep calling me that?" "Of course, till the council says otherwise," she said cheerfully. "But don't worry if planned your first bonding day," Jack groaned. "There's a schedule?" "Yes. It's very important that we understand each other. So today, I'll teach you how to survive as a husband. On Velmara." She floated down, landing lightly on the floor. Jack noticed she was wearing a new outfit, soft blue with golden symbols that glowed faintly. "What's first?" he asked, giving up. Lilu grinned. "Cultural boot camp." The next hour was a whirlwind. First, Jack had to learn the Velmoran greeting dance. It involved strange hand gestures, foot tapping, and head tilts. Lilu moved like water. Jack moved like a stiff robot. She giggled each time he messed up. He glared at her, but her laughter was too innocent to be insulting. "You're doing great," she encouraged. "Are you lying to me?" A little, then came food tasting. Lilu placed 5 dishes on the table. None of them looked like food. To Jack, "This one is roasted glow bloom petals," she explained. Jack tried a bite. It crunched like paper but tasted like buttered popcorn. "Not bad," he said, surprised. "See, you're blending in already?" The third lesson was about emotion colors. Velmarans wore small crystal pins that changed color based on mood. "Well, made of sunlight. I may have read to bring right around to run remote and grin right now. I'm gonna run right. I'm gonna run I can around the reconsider. I had a ride of so I could run some Pin kept turning great confusion. Lilu's bright pink and gold, joy and curiosity. "You're not angry?" she said, looking at his pin. "No, I'm just overwhelmed. That's okay. You're still trying. I respect that." Later. Walk through the city's Harmony Square. Jack noticed how everyone smiled at them. Some gave flowers. One child handed Lilu a drawing of her and Jack holding hands. Jack bent down and looked at the drawing. "Is that supposed to be me?" "My head looks huge," Lilu laughed. "Big head. Means big honor in our culture. Of course it does." As they kept walking, Lilu told him stories about her world. "I was born in the floating city of Thera," she said. "I always wanted to be a bridge between species." "You studied Earth languages, right?" Jack asked. She nodded. "Yes. I even watched Earth Entertainment. I love your movies, especially the old ones with explosions." Jack chuckled. "You don't seem like the explosion type." "Oh, I'm full of surprises." They reached the Temple of Ties, a peaceful garden where couples sat together to meditate. Lilu pulled Jack by the arm. Come on, just for a minute. They sat on a soft cushion beside a glowing pond. Lilu gave Jack a small bracelet. This is a pulse band, she said. It syncs our heartbeats. Why would we do that? Jack asked. It helps build trust. Just try. Jack sighed, but put it on. The band glowed gently. He could feel a soft beat under his wrist. It wasn't his on it was Lilu's. He looked. At her, she had her eyes closed, breathing calmly.
Nice.
Slowly, his heartbeat matched hers. It was peaceful. After a while, Lilu opened her eyes. Thank you, she said softly. Most humans wouldn't do this. Jack looked away. Well, I'm not most humans. No, you're not. Back at their quarters, Jack sat at the table going through reports. Lilu prepared tea in the background. Tomorrow, the council wants to see us, he said. They're planning to talk about the full diplomatic link between our worlds. Are you nervous? She asked. A little. I wasn't trained to play house while handling politics. You're doing better than you think, she said. He looked at her. Why did you really sign up for this match, Lilu? There had to be other aliens more compatible with you. She sat across from him, serious for the first time. Because I believed the match system wasn't wrong. I believed that you, Jack Riker, were exactly what our future needed. Someone strong, loyal, and full of questions. And I wanted to be the one who answered them. Jack didn't speak for a moment. I'm not used to people putting that much belief in me, he said finally. Then let me be the first. A soft silence settled between them. Not awkward, just quiet and warm. That night, Jack lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. Lilu had kept her promise. She curled up like a shrimp on her side of the bed, barely taking up any space. He couldn't sleep. His mind was full. This wasn't what he had planned, not part of any mission briefing. But somehow, it felt more important than all the paperwork he'd brought. He turned his head slightly. Lilu was fast asleep, hugging a pillow and mumbling something in her native tongue. Jack smiled to himself. Maybe being accidentally married to an alien wasn't so bad. Something told him peace like this wouldn't last forever. Jack Riker stood near the tall glass windows of the Velmoran Council Hall, watching the sky. Floating islands glided slowly above the horizon. The sun was warm, but his face was tight with worry. Behind him, the council chamber buzzed with voices in different alien tongues. Delegates from many planets had come for the Earth-Velmara agreement. Today's meeting was supposed to be a celebration. But something felt wrong. Lilu entered the hall wearing a bright ceremonial robe. Her antenna braids sparkled with tiny gems. She looked excited, but when she saw Jack's face, her smile faded. You're tense, she said softly, stepping beside him. There's a problem, Jack replied. I just got a private message from the security chief. There are protests. Groups gathering outside. Not all aliens support Earth joining the Galactic Union. Lilu nodded slowly. Yes. Some fear humans. They say your kind is too wild, too unpredictable. Jack sighed. They're not completely wrong. But we're also strong, loyal. We never back down when we believe in something. She looked at him. I know. That's why I matched with you. Suddenly, a loud bang echoed outside the hall. The glass trembled. Everyone froze. Jack's hand moved to his side automatically, though he had no weapon. Velmara didn't allow armed guests. Guards rushed in, whispering urgently to the council. A moment later, an alarm sounded. A device exploded near the eastern tower. One of the guards said no injuries, just smoke. But it was meant to send a message. Jack's eyes narrowed. This is more than protest. It's sabotage. The council moved the gathering to a smaller, secure room. Jack and Lilu followed. The other delegates whispered nervously, some looking at Jack with suspicion. Who would do this? Lilu asked. No one's attacked a council event in years. Jack clenched his fists. Someone who wants to scare us off. Someone who thinks humans don't belong here. Just then, a tall alien with rough stone-like skin approached them. His name was Garen, a senior guard who had helped escort Jack when he first arrived. He looked serious. Commander Riker, I have something to show you. Jack and Lilu followed him to a small hall room. Garen activated a screen. A video played. It showed a group of shadowed figures placing a device near the tower earlier that morning. One of them removed their hood for a moment. Jack paused the image. It was a young Velmaran male with a red mark on his forehead. Lilu gasped. That's Terran. He's from one of the old noble families. They hate the match system. They think outsiders ruin our traditions. Jack looked. At Garen? Is he the leader? We believe so. And we think he's planning something bigger. Tonight's royal banquet could be a target. Jack's eyes darkened. Then we stop him tonight. The banquet was held in the Crystal Garden, a huge dome filled with glowing plants and hovering music spheres. The air smelled like flowers and spice. Jack wore a dark suit with the Earth emblem on his chest. Lilu walked beside him, dressed in golden robes. Her face was calm, but her hand gripped his arm tightly. Do you see anything strange? She whispered. Not yet, Jack replied. Delegates filled the space, eating colorful food and chatting politely. Music played softly, but Jack couldn't relax. His eyes scanned everything. Halfway through the meal, he noticed something. Of the serving bots moved, oddly stopping, turning, then moving again, not like the others. Jack stood quickly. That bot's been tampered with. Lilu followed his gaze. It's heading toward the main table. Without thinking, Jack ran. Toward it. The bot's body began to glow, slightly dangerous energy building inside. Get down, Jack shouted. He tackled the bot, yanking off a small energy pack. The bot crashed to the floor. A guard rushed over, helping Jack disarm it fully. Everyone in the hall stared in shock. Jiaran appeared beside them. We caught Terran trying to escape. He planted this device as a distraction. Jack breathed hard. Lilu helped him stand. Her eyes were full of worry and pride. You just saved the council, she whispered. Jack looked at her. We saved it. Later that night, Jack sat outside. Under the stars? Lilu joined him, handing him a warm drink. Thanks, he said quietly. She sat beside him. You didn't have to jump at the bot. You could have been hurt. I couldn't wait. It was going to explode. I couldn't let that happen. Not to the council. Not to you. Lilu looked at him. You care. Jack didn't answer right away. And he spoke slow and honest. You were right, Lilu, this whole match. It started as a mistake. Now I don't think it is. You've helped me understand your world. You trusted me. And I'm starting to trust you too. Her antenna braids twitched happily. Does that mean you're staying? Jack looked up at the stars. I don't know what the future holds, but I'm not running away. I'll face whatever comes. With you, Lilu smiled. Then I'll face it with you too, husband. Jack groaned. You're not going to stop calling me that, are you? It's not a chance. The sun rose over Velmara, casting golden light on the city's crystal towers. Birds with rainbow feathers flew through the sky, singing soft songs. But inside the council hall, the mood was serious. Commander Jack Riker stood tall in his black Earth uniform. Beside him was Lilu, calm and proud in her green diplomatic robes. They both faced the Galactic Union's leader's stall. Strange, powerful beings from across the stars. After the recent attack, Jack and Lilu were now more than just a married couple. They were symbols of peace and trust between two worlds. The Velmaran High Counselor spoke. Jack Riker, you and Lilu stopped a terrible attack. Your courage has gained great respect. Now we ask more of you. Jack nodded. What do you need? We want you to go on a unity mission, the counselor said. Visit our nearby allied planets. Speak as a pair. Show them that humans and Velmarans can work together, live together, even love each other. Lilu smiled softly. Jack hesitated. Then he gave a short nod. We'll do it. Their journey began the next day. They boarded a sleek silver diplomatic ship named Starlink Dove. It was fast, quiet, and equipped with everything for a smooth journey. The inside of the ship had 2 bedrooms, a control room, and a large glass dome to watch the stars. Jack stood in the dome, watching space stretch around them. Never thought I'd be doing marriage counseling for 2 planets, he said dryly. Lilu laughed. You're doing great, husband. You're still calling me that. I'm still your wife, aren't I? Jack chuckled. Their first stop was the planet Arellan, home of tall, glowing beings called the Shari. The Shari were peaceful, but cautious. They had heard about Earth's history wars, weapons, and chaos. Jack and Lilu stepped into the Hall of Voices, where they were surrounded by floating light spheres. A Shari elder floated forward. Why should we trust humans? Jack stood tall, because we're not just fighters, we're protectors, we're builders, we care. And if we make mistakes, we learn and do better. Lilu stepped beside him. I chose to bond with a human. Not because I was forced, because I believed. He proved my belief true. The light spheres around them pulsed with color. The Shari elder finally said, Then let the stars witness this trust. Mission 1. Success next was Draven, a stormy world ruled by strong insect-like beings. Their leader, a sharp-eyed queen named Zira, didn't smile. You are a strange pair, she said. Why should I believe your match is real? Jack didn't speak. Instead, he turned to Lilu. You tell her, he said. Lilu blinked. Me. You've been beside me this whole time. You've seen more. Lilu nodded slowly, then turned to Queen Zira. He listens to me even when I'm small. Protects me, but he also lets me fight beside him. He never asked for this match, but he accepted it with honor. Isn't that what real unity looks like? The Queen's sharp eyes studied them both. Then she gave a tiny nod. You may speak for your worlds. Mission 2. Success days passed. They visited 3 more planets, speaking at councils, helping during disasters, and even dancing in an alien wedding celebration. Jack noticed something strange. Each day he found himself wanting to sit closer to Lilu, to ask her opinion first, to hear her laugh. Lilu noticed too. Jack, who had once kept his emotions locked tight, now smiled more. He even teased her sometimes. They shared jokes, food, and silence dashed comfortably. One night, as the ship floated near a field of blue comets, they sat together in the glass dome. You're changing, Lilu said. Jack looked at her. How? You're softer, kinder. He shrugged. Maybe I was always like this. Just never had someone to bring it out. She smiled. That's the sweetest thing you've said. He grinned. Don't get used to it. The next morning, a message arrived from Velmara. A scientist named Dr. Tharo had discovered something unusual in Jack and Lilu's medical scans. We need to talk in person, the message said. Jack looked at Lilu. Want to go home? She nodded. Let's find out what the mystery is. On Velmara, they went straight to the research center. Dr. Thoreau, an elderly alien with glowing hands, greeted them with excitement. Commander Riker. Lilu, your match has produced something incredible. He showed them a glowing image of their DNA blend. Your combined immune systems can cancel out dozens of known alien diseases. Together, your genes create a shield effect. If studied, it could help cure sickness across multiple planets. Jack's jaw tightened. You're saying we're a medical miracle? Dr. Tharo nodded. Exactly. Lilu looked shocked. We never expected that. Jack turned serious. What do you want to do with this? The doctor replied. Only with your permission, we'd like to take a sample. Help millions of lives. Jack looked at Lilu. She met his eyes. You decide. She whispered, I'll follow. Jack nodded. We'll help, but only if no one is forced. Not us, not anyone. The doctor smiled. Agreed. That evening, the Velmarin Council held another celebration in their honor. Jack and Lilu stood on a balcony, watching the city lights sparkle below. You know, Jack said, I used to think this whole thing was a bad dream. And now? Lilu asked. Now, I think I found something better than I ever planned. She smiled. A wife? He laughed. A friend, partner, maybe even something more. She gently touched his hand. You're not so bad for a grumpy human. He squeezed her fingers lightly. You're not so bad for a bubbly alien. Above them, stars danced across the sky. And for the first time, Jack didn't feel like a stranger in this world. He felt at home. The soft hum of the Velmarin Research Center filled the room. Jack and Lilu sat side by side, their hands almost touching on the glass table. Before them stood Dr. Thoreau, his glowing hands moving carefully over holographic screens that showed swirling DNA patterns. Your genetic profiles, he said quietly, show a unique bond, one we've never seen before. Jack frowned. What does that mean? Dr. Thoreau's eyes shone with excitement. When combined, your DNA creates a powerful immune synergy. Together, you can resist diseases that threaten many species. Lilu's eyes widened. So, we're more than just a match by culture? Yes, Dr. Thoreau replied. Yes. Your genetic compatibility is rare. If we study this, it could help millions, maybe billions across the galaxy. Jack leaned back, processing the news. But what do you want from us? Dr. Thoreau smiled gently. A small sample of your cells. It's a safe procedure, but it requires trust. Jack looked at Lilu, searching her eyes. She nodded. We'll help, Jack said, but only if it's voluntary. Dr. Thoreau bowed. Of course. Thank you. Passed as Jack and Lilu prepared for the procedure, but the news of their genetic secret had spread quickly. Not everyone was happy. One evening, as they walked through a quiet garden on Velmara, Lilu stopped suddenly. Jack, someone is watching us. Jack's hand moved to his side. Stay close.
Oh.
From the shadows, two figures stepped forward. One was a Velmaron protester, his face angry. The other, a masked stranger. You don't belong here, the protester spat. Your union is an insult. Jack stood firm. We're here to build peace. The masked stranger suddenly lunged toward. Lilu. Jack reacted instantly, pushing her aside and tackling the attacker. The fight was fast and fierce. Jack's military training and Lilu's quick reflexes saved them. The attacker fled. But the warning was clear. The next day, Jack spoke with the Velmarin Council. They want to stop the research, he said. Because they fear what we represent, Lilu added. But we can't give up. This discovery could change everything. The council agreed to increase their protection. During the procedure, Jack lay still as Dr. Thoreau and his team took a small blood sample. Lilu held his hand. You're brave, she whispered. Jack smiled weakly. So are you. Weeks later, as the research continued, Jack's respect for Lilu grew. Their accidental marriage was now a partnership in the truest sense. One night, Jack turned to her. I don't want this to be just about politics or duty, he said softly. I want us to be real. Lilu's eyes shone. Me too. They shared. A quiet moment under Velmara's twin moons, ready to face whatever came next together. The day of the grand ceremony had arrived. The Velmaron Council Hall was decorated with bright flowers and shimmering crystals. Delegates from many worlds gathered to honor Jack Riker and Lilu's bond, a symbol of unity between Earth and Velmara. Jack stood nervously beside Lilu. She looked radiant in a flowing robe of soft blue, her antenna-like braids sparkling under the lights. He adjusted his uniform, feeling a mix of pride and uncertainty. The High Counselor stepped forward, his deep voice echoing through the hall. Today we celebrate a union born from tradition, strengthened by courage and honored by truth. Commander. Jack Riker and Lilu, you represent the future of our worlds. Jack glanced at Lilu, who smiled gently. It was time. He took a deep breath and spoke louder than he ever had before on Velmara. The match that brought us together was not planned by me. It was a system's choice. But today, I stand here to say this. I choose to keep this bond, not because I was matched, but because I want to. Lilu is not just my assigned partner. She is my friend, my ally, and my equal. The hall fell silent. Jack reached into his pocket and pulled out a small, glowing ring crafted from Velmaron crystal and earth metal. A perfect symbol of their joined worlds. Lilu, he said, will you marry me by human ways and Velmaron ways? Will you be my wife, my partner, my family? Tears glistened in Lilu's eyes. Her smile grew brighter than ever. Yes, Jack, she replied. I choose you with all my heart. The crowd erupted in cheers and applause. Delegates stood and celebrated the first real human-alien marriage in the Galactic Union. After the ceremony, Jack and Lilu walked through the garden where they first spent time together. The moonlight painted silver patterns on the flowers. Jack took Lilu's hand and said, "I wasn't sure if this match was a mistake, but now I believe it was fate." Lilu squeezed his hand. "Sometimes the best things come from surprises." They paused and looked at the stars. Jack felt something new, a calm certainty. "This is only the beginning," he said. Lilu smiled. "Together, we can face anything." The news of their marriage spread across planets, inspiring hope and unity. Earth's place in the Galactic Union was stronger than ever. Jack and Lilu became ambassadors, traveling together, showing the galaxy that differences could be bridges, not walls. Jack often thought back to that first day when Lilu announced their match. What had started as a surprise had turned into a powerful story of trust, courage, and love. And in that story, humanity had proven once again, no matter the odds, humans could rise to the challenge.